92. Was literally his driver. He says, bwana, tulikuwa pamoja, mimi Mungu amenijalia nimepata. Come and sit here. He says, wewe hukujipanga, wewe hukufa. You know, what do you think God is thinking of this person if he took over? And you people in Central Province, you must ask yourselves, in whose hands will you be safe? In whose hands will you be safe? In whose hands will you be safe? Don't come to me. I have no kiosk. Me, I'm a salary guy. Lawyers and people from Western Kenya, we are used to salaries, being cooks and watchmen. But you Central people, in whose hands will you be safe? Genz, son. That is the question. It's not a question of bottom up. It's not a question of wheelbarrows. It's not a question of hustler. Or it's not a question of who. Ask yourself, in whose hands, if elections was carried today and your TV, your radio tells William Samoei Ruto is the head, in whose hands will you be safe?
And what's wrong with that?
In whose hands will you be safe?
So they will be aggrieved if a leader of the status of a deputy president will come out so loud as tribal. The people and the members of parliament will be aggrieved if after an election the deputy president still says country revenue or county resources or county development shall go to the people in terms of how they voted. So those who voted more or who gave more votes to the Kenya Kwanza government to get more development, or if we just round it and say more goodies, and those who didn't vote maybe to get zero. Because if people are being given percentage and there are places whereby you got zero, then people from those places will get zero. And maybe people are generalizing it in terms of ethnicity. But you never know people who are vengeful. They could not look at it as ethnicity. They might decide to look at it in terms of polling stations, or even wards, or even constituencies. That would mean some wards might not even have anything, if we go by what Honorable Gachagua said before. But I'm an optimistic person, and I want to give him the benefit of the doubt that he is honest and he is apologizing. What I wish to see is this honesty coming with some collateral. At least Honorable Gachagua should be able to tell us what happened between him and the president, so that Kenyans can make a very good decision on this challenge. Because as if you listen to Honorable Gachagua today, he mentioned Rift Valley. And he said Rift Valley is a place where many communities live and people should embrace peace. I don't know why he chose Rift Valley. Some people might think it's because it's the president's backyard. Some people might relate it to the 2007 post-election violence. And some people might just relate it to the tribal difference that could be coming up now, because
if our brothers who did not support the president and myself in the way my region and the Rift Valley supported him, and probably you find that in appreciating our people and the support they give the president and I, probably our utterances made you feel uncomfortable. We did not mean bad. We were simply appreciating the people who voted for us. And if you feel that we rubbed you the wrong way, please find it in your heart to forgive me. To the people of Kenya, in our service across the country, as we serve you, if there is anything we have done or said that you found unpalatable, that you found unacceptable, please find it in your heart to forgive me. Finally, I want to say that Kenya is a country of the rule of law. I have faith in our courts of law. We have competent men and women in our judiciary who I believe will uphold the Constitution, protect it with their zeal, and always uphold and protect the will of the Kenyan people. Article 1 of the Constitution, politics of the day should not in any way threaten our peace and our peaceful coexistence. Kenya is bigger than all of us. We have no other country other than this one. Finally, I want to say that in our work, this work we came 2 years ago, this charity work, and in our zeal to work, in our commitment to work, probably our utterances made you feel our duties for the boy child, and our program has wronged you in a way. Find it in your heart to forgive her.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from wherever you could be watching us. This is Kazuri Media, and we welcome you to another session of our news and political discussions. Today being a Sunday, we have had a very good day, and if you are following the proceedings in our churches, you must have heard or listened to the Deputy President, His Excellency Gachagua, apologize to His Excellency Ruto, apologize to Kenyans, and he's also apologized to the members of Parliament. This, I must say, is a very bold move from the Deputy President. Very few people can garner the courage to say, I'm sorry. But I still think he's come short of saying, I'm sorry. Because if you listen to his words, he's acting like he might not know if he wronged somebody. I can't tell how he wronged President Ruto if he did. But I can tell how he wronged the parliamentarians and the people of Kenya. The parliamentarians, because they represent the people of Kenya. So they will be aggrieved if a leader of the status of a deputy president will come out so loud as tribal. The people and the members of parliament will be aggrieved if after an election the deputy president still says country revenue or county resources or county development shall go to the people in terms of how they voted. So those who voted more or who gave more votes to the Kenya Kwanza government to get more development, or if we just round it and say more goodies, and those who didn't vote maybe to get zero. Because if people are being given percentage, and there are places whereby you got zero, then people from those places will get zero. And maybe people are generalizing it in terms of ethnicity. But you never know people who are vengeful. They could not look at it as ethnicity. They might decide to look at it in terms of polling stations, or even wards, or even constituencies. That will mean some wards might not even have anything, if we go by what Honorable Gachagua said before. But I'm an optimistic person, and I want to give him the benefit of the doubt that he is honest and he is apologizing. What I wish to see is this honesty coming with some collateral. At least Honorable Gachagua should be able to tell us what happened between him and the president, so that Kenyans can make a very good decision on this challenge. Because as if you listen to Honorable Gachagua today, he mentioned Rift Valley. And he said Rift Valley is a place where many communities live and people should embrace peace. I don't know why he chose Rift Valley. Some people might think it's because it's the president's backyard. Some people might relate it to the 2007 post-election violence. And some people might just relate it to the tribal difference that could be coming up now, because the deputy president is from the mountain and the president is from the valley. But looking at it deeply, I think Nairobi has more people, and we should have called for the people of Nairobi to embrace peace. And it's not only in Rift Valley where Kenyans from different ethnic communities live. So I wish that His Excellency Gachagua will come out and tell us where the rain started to beat him or them as president and deputy, so that we can understand. He's also asked the people of Rift Valley to leave the fight to the leaders and not be involved in it. Something to suggest that the current undertakings are politically driven. We're in a very political country, and it began after the 2017 elections, where we saw politicians kick off election campaigns 4 years before the 2022 general election. And one person who did that was His Excellency the President, and he might have thrown out that as a strategy for other politicians. And if you're keen enough, you will go into our WhatsApp groups, you'll realize that after the 2022 elections, more politicians kicked off their campaigns for 2027. You'll walk around and you'll see somebody campaigning for the 2027 general election, and we're in 2023. We're in 2024 now, and in our phones we have hundreds of WhatsApp groups. In a constituency you have 5 WhatsApp groups, one for the sitting MP and maybe 4 for those who lost and those who want to become MPs in 2027. So the culture of early campaigns might have checked into Kenya. And I think it's something we should reconsider. I don't know if there's legislation that can help out with that, because it's very hard to hold these people responsible for the early campaigns, which I believe totally is not good for this country. But as you take in Honorable Gachagua's apology. The grapevine also has it that Raila Amolo Odinga, the people's president, has summoned members of parliament from the Orange Democratic Movement for a meeting that should take place tomorrow. From where I sit, I'm yet to confirm that, but we all know that His Excellency Raila Amolo Odinga jetted back into the country 2 or 3 days ago, and his presence means a lot. And we all know if the ODM members of parliament do not support the impeachment motion, then it's clear as day that the motion will not go through. So I think if Raila Amolo Odinga will summon his brigade tomorrow, then that meeting shall determine the fate of Honorable Gachagua, because there are only 2 outcomes after that meeting. ODM will be voting yes, or ODM will give Gachagua another chance. We are yet to see, and we hope that whatever outcome, Kenya remains first. We also know that Raila Amolo Odinga is very considerate, and maybe the calls made by people during the public participation could influence the outcome of that meeting tomorrow. But one thing I'm sure and certain about is that the meeting will determine the fate of His Excellency, the Deputy President, Honorable Rigathi Gachagua. If I was Rigathi Gachagua, I will look for Raila this evening. Monday will not reach before I get Raila. And if he's an apologetic person like he is, then he should go and apologize for Raila for accepting to be deputy president in an election that he clearly knows was marred by a lot of irregularities, and the winner could not be determined by the IEBC. But as fate had it, a winner was announced. So he should start by apologizing to Raila. And if he knows what is in the server that was never opened, he should also communicate that to His Excellency Raila Amolo Odinga. After that, he should also apologize for inciting the IG to attack Raila's convoy during the demonstration. After that, he should also apologize to Raila as the people's president for dividing the people into shareholders, for dividing the people on tribal lines and coming out to sound as the mountain deputy president instead of being the Kenyan deputy president. Once he's done with that, he should also apologize for the corruption he has been involved in for all those years, because I think apologies must be accompanied with clean hands. And he must go to the Bible and maybe ask Her Excellency Mrs. Rigathi Gachagua to read for him the parable of the rich man from the Bible, so that he understands what he is going into when he decides to be remorseful. Because I want to believe from his face today he looked remorseful. And from a face value, I will have embraced him and told him, brother, all will be well. But we are living in a world whereby honesty is not guaranteed by word of mouth. So that puts me in a situation whereby I'll throw it back to the Kenyans. Do you think Honorable Rigathi Gachagua is honest? And should we forgive him should those Kenyans who participated the other day in various venues and supported the impeachment motion change their minds today because His Excellency Gachagua has apologized? I don't know if they should change their mind or not. That is upon them. And we will see how it pans out in the coming days. Something else that came up today is His Excellency William Samoei Ruto distancing himself with Mungatana's bill on religion. I think religion should not be legislated through democracy. Because for Kenyans, we are members or we subscribe to religious beliefs that have existed before. And it's believed that the teachings or the writings were made by people with spiritual guidance. I don't know how spiritual Honorable Mungatana could be. Even though I've shared with him a club, we were at Mombasa Sports Club together. He was in the basketball section and I was in the rugby section. And that means we interacted at some point. That interaction did not leave any elements of spirituality or any. From his demeanor, I could not read any. I could not categorize him as a spiritual person, which is a very personal thing and cannot be judged in public, so I'll let it stay at that. But we should not legislate on religion to levels that Honorable Mungatana wanted to take it to. And people don't like it when the clergy go looking for money or get money through the churches. I'm of a different opinion. Work should get at some earning. And the clergy who has dedicated their life, just like the nun in the convent, must earn out of the religious circles. And this should not be regulated. Even though I know the preachers that we can call the Kanyaris. I'm not trying to blame Kanyari, but I think what we were shown on him made us refer to the funny preachers as Kanyaris. Those funny preachers should be dealt with by the religious people of this country, who should call them out, and the law should take its course, because these religious people who steal, misuse, some even molest children, are committing acts that can be taken care of by the law. Because if some father is a rapist in Mandera, we don't need to victimize another father who is very religious in Rangala. Instead, we should charge that molester for molesting that child. If a father acquires wealth or money through false pretense, there's law to take care of that. So I'm also happy that the president distanced himself from that bill, and I think it will not see the day tomorrow, because we're in a country whereby after the president says no, it's no. I remember in Mombasa the other day, the governor of Mombasa banned Mogoka. It was not reverted at the county assembly, which passed it. It took the president's speech, and when the president said Mogoka is legal and it can go be sold anywhere in Kenya, the next day Mogoka was legal in Mombasa again. So I don't think Mogatana's bill will go any further than it's gone till this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're joining us, this is Kazuri Media coming to you live from Nairobi, Kenya. A very good Sunday. Should Honorable Ruto, the President of Kenya, forgive his deputy, Honorable Gachagua? That is where we are today. I don't know the projects Gachagua's wife has been carrying out. I don't know if the public feels them, how they've impacted on Kenyans. But the deputy president went ahead to ask for apologies on her behalf. And she also said it, that her husband is going nowhere. Maybe she's going to pray for her, because I know she won't be voting. But I believe in family. I pray that His Excellency Gachagua's political undertakings does not get to a point it affects his family directly. Women are precious, women are queens, they are princesses, and they should be taken care of. So anything that leads to an attack on a woman should never be allowed to see the light of day. So I also wish to caution those politicians who want to involve their wives into politics. Kindly think about that woman. Her peace is very important before you involve her in politics or put her in a position the country would go for her when they're coming for you. As we go on, there's also the talks about Morara's threat to Morara's life or Morara's assassination. I'm trying to gauge and question myself. Who would want to assassinate Morara? And a list comes into my head. First and foremost, could it be Honorable William Ruto? Yes, he might want to. Because Morara has come out loudly to say he will take William Ruto to jail, not even to the ICC. But looking at the benefits that will come out of an assassination, I don't think President Ruto would wish to assassinate Morara. But they're businessmen who do business with government. And Morara's exposés are serious. I think the best we've seen in the recent past from a citizen. We have to give credit to Morara for that. Many people will sit in front of their desks and tell you, read to you about projects that have not been completed or projects whose resources have been used and it does not reflect on the ground. But Morara goes further to go to those locations and he's able to film, and the country is able to see a road that was supposed to be constructed and was never constructed. They're able to see projects that were supposed to kick off and never kicked off. Projects that it is assumed were completed and contractors paid but were never done. You know, these are projects that are already in people's pockets. Imagine that corrupt contractor backed by a corrupt government official who pocketed maybe 100 million shillings to do a road, didn't do it, compromised the member of parliament and all leaders and activists in that area, or maybe used lack of knowledge to swim through. Then Morara works with this video team. The camera team checks in and they're clearly exposing this road. The first thing that comes into my mind is the corrupt man's reaction. Number one, he has used this money to sponsor their lavish life. Then Morara is exposing this corrupt action, which means he might be forced to pay back that money or to redo that work. These are the people Morara should fear most. The corrupt businessmen. And they're not good people. They're very dangerous. And Kenya has them. You know? So I would also wish to advise Morara as an upcoming activist, fighter for better governance. When you get into this world, this political world, because I think Morara is now transitioning from a keyboard activist to one who is coming out in the ground and in public to agitate for the Kenya he wants. That transition is not a joke business. And there are two different worlds. When you are a keyboard activist and you're speaking and people watching you through the screens, you're a little bit safer. Save for the moments we know he goes on top of his vehicle. But even that is not as bad as now the popularity is gotten. And this popularity comes with a drive for you to further your ambition, to further your agenda. He says to inject. And now Morara will want to inject more because he's become more popular. Yesterday I sat somewhere and there were two ladies who were passing. And they were like, watu hawata impeach huyo mtu. Hata wakimuimpeach tutapatia nani? Then one said, tutaweza patia Morara. And then I said, okay. That is good for him for publicity. That is good for him for his future political endeavors. But it's not very good for him in terms of his security and space in the political world. That is a jungle on its own. And it's harsh. They say hakuna mama ya mtu hapo. The other day I heard Honorable TJ Kajwang said, hiyo ndio utamu ya Nairobi. To me it read like this guy is getting to feel what it takes to politic in Nairobi. So before he does anything, he should first of all invest in security. As a person with the exposure in the political security in the political world, I'll say Morara does not have security. And it was clear when he went to Bomas. Instead, the young men he was seen with cannot stand with him because they're not even his people. They're people I see around Raila Amolo Odinga and ODM. Yes, they could be good security men, but they cannot help you when you're not with Raila. There are people who Raila is the one who will tell right or left. And if you watch Morara coming in, there was a gentleman who was there opening it for him the route and helping him navigate. By the time Morara was being pulled from where the chairs were raining on him, that young man was not there. His bodyguard was not there. It took the intervention of other well-known ODM youth to get him out of the venue. And I think he should look for them and thank them. If he wants to do so and he wants to reach them, he can reach out to the ODM circles. They'll be found, and he can thank them personally. So what Morara should do now is invest in his security. Number two, run away from the illusion that the change we want in Kenya will only be brought by the Gen Z. The change we want in Kenya will take each and every Kenyan. The one who is 80 years old to the one who is 18 years old. And politics is like sport. And in sports, experience matters. You cannot throw away experience. So Morara could be like that good 17-year-old player, or the Spanish 16-year-old player we watched in the World Cup. But that player will get very good advice from Ronaldo or Messi if he was able to speak to them. So the fact that Morara has not aligned himself to established politicians, who can guide him and tell him how to package what he has to present today? Because he's not doing something new. We had whistleblowers on the Golden Bug. We had witnesses for the IEBC. We've had great Kenyans who've come out to call for the best you can ever have for this country. But they did not get us where we wanted to get to. I always mention Dedan Kimathi. In my books, Kenya would have been a better place if Dedan Kimathi became president of this country before His Excellency Jomo Kenyatta. Because he stood for the true revolution. He would have not distributed land to cronies so that we could have had the land problem that led to the differences between Kenyatta 1 and Jaramogi Oginga Odinga. Kenya would have been different. So Morara has to know how he'll reach out to established personalities if he doesn't want to reach out to the politician. Because if it were me, I'll tell him, Morara, consult Baba. It might not give you a rage solution like you want, but he will give you a solution that will help you count the gains you could get. You might not gain everything. Maybe today what is more lucrative to you is Ruto must go. But if you sit with the people's president, it might make you understand why he does things the way he does, and maybe why he's not on the street calling for Ruto must go. It might not be popular, but it might be good for you in this country. Because if Morara does not seek advice from the experienced Kenyans, be it politicians or non-politicians, then his journey might be so short, very short-lived. Because he's like a player. He could be the best player, but he could end up not being fielded because he does not understand how to manage his coach. Maybe because of one reason or the other. He might not get a chance to represent what we see in the Morara of today. So that is my unsolicited advice to Morara, whom I'm very happy that has become popular. Looks like he could make a very good politician, but that route is very, very bumpy. Stop and look back, Morara. But do not stop agitating for a better Kenya. That one, there is no negotiation. A better Kenya must come. They say better must come. That is my unsolicited advice to Morara. Also, of late, I've been of the opinion that Bunge in Jacaranda is a litmus paper to be used to gauge the politics of this country. I listened to the members of that Bunge yesterday, and what came out clearly is that Kenya is divided. But I'm also happy that the division is not 50-50. I can give it a 20-80. 20% who believe that if Gachagua is to go home, then Ruto has to go home too. And 80% who believe it's time to deal with Gachagua, and once they deal with Gachagua, they'll move to the next step of cleaning this country. Take it or note, that is the situation. I also had a chance to go back to and watch the Bomas clip. And from the Bomas clip, I realized no one should underrate Honorable Gachagua. The mobilization that was done there, first of all, it was very, very tribal, and people were given money. Somebody told me he was given 3,000 bob to attend that event and oppose the motion. I was told the night before the event, people were being given money in town, at the stage where you bought matatus to Thika, Kayole, and they were being told to go to Bomas and oppose the impeachment in public. There is that tunnel just when you're near Bomas. In the morning, people were being given money to attend the event. So before the ODM chairman, Honorable Aladwa, will realize Morara was coming in and he had the support of people who were already inside there waiting for him to oppose for the impeachment by saying Ruto must go if Gachagua is going. So it shows Gachagua is a sleuth operator, very smooth, and people might be tempted to underrate him, but the mobilization he did in this country should make every Kenyan think twice and start to ask themselves, who is Rigathi Gachagua? Because as we move on into the new week, a lot is going to happen. And I'll ask, if a referendum was held today, a yes or no referendum, Gachagua to go or not, I believe 80% of Kenyans will vote for the impeachment, without even mentioning the name William Ruto. William Ruto will come after the impeachment. So ladies and gentlemen, let's embrace for ourselves for a serious second week of this month. And Kenyans are going to witness something which is very historical. A deputy president being impeached, or a president cooking his own goose. And with that, I want to say thank you for watching, and we will be coming back to you with more news as we cover what's happening in the political field in Kenya. Thank you very much. Once again, if you've not subscribed or liked our channel, kindly do so and share so that we are able to reach out to as many Kenyans and people all over the world. Thank you very much, and may you have a blessed morning, afternoon, or evening. See you next on Kazuri Media TV.